Okay, so we are now recording this session. Okay, so given this problem definition, if you are reading that, what this problem is giving you, it is giving you price of a stock. So it could be stock of any company. So we are thinking in terms of, when I say stock, we are talking in terms of stock market, where we buy stock, we sell stock, right? So here, this what this problem is doing is, this problem is giving you a prices of a stock, maybe a daily price. So day one it was 7 rupees, day two it was one, day three 5, and so on. What it is asking you is, so it has few constraints set to you. What says that on each day you may either decide to buy or sell. So you can buy on first day at 7 rupees, and you can sell on second day at 1 rupee with a 6 rupees of loss, right? So either, or you can buy on second day at 1 rupees, and you can sell on third day with 5 rupees with the 4 rupees of profit. So you can buy and sell this stock. However, it says that you can buy it then immediately and sell it on same day. You can even do that. It means that you can buy on same day and you can sell on same day with zero profit and zero loss, right? So you can buy at any point of time and you can sell at any point of time. And on the same day as well, you can buy and sell. So you can buy on same day, you can sell on same day, right? So this is we'll come back to this point and understand why this is a very important thing in this problem to understand. Okay, so this, if I change this definition, this could mean some different meaning as well, right? So as of now, we'll not give much importance to this, but we only understand, and we keep in our mind that I can sell and buy on same day as well, right? So what you are supposed to return? Remember, you are supposed to return, given this array of stock prices on each day for a given length of time span. You need to tell me what is the maximum profit I can achieve if I can buy, if I keep on buying and selling. And remember here, if you look at the constraints of this problem, so what is the constraint? So it says that the prices dot array length is minimum one stock. So minimum stock I have, the minimum stock or minimum day price I have is one, right? And the each value of stock on every on the day, it could be zero or it could be max 10 to the power of 4, right? These are the constraint. And does it restrict me that, now looking at the problem, do you think the problem definition restricts me in number of times I can buy and sell? Can you answer that? So in the chat window, try to reply by looking at this problem. Do you think, does this problem restrict me in number of buy operations and number of sell operations I can do? Can you respond that in chat window? Okay, so I have two responses in chat window. One is he can buy only one stock. Yes. So obviously there is only one stock of company, so he can buy on one day and he can sell on one day. So he can buy on day one at 7 rupees. So we are only talking about one stock, which we can buy and sell, right? The second constraint is, as you have said, if you look at this problem here, there is no restriction on number of buys and sells. Like you can do as many number of buy and sells, you can do as many number of sell operations as well. There is no restriction as such, right? So here, this problem will become too complex. We'll come back to that version of problem as well. This problem will become complex when I put a restriction that what is the maximum profit I can make if I am only allowed to buy once and sell once, or if I put a constraint I can maximum buy twice and I can sell twice. It means that now you have to look for something different, right? So we'll come back to that problem and we'll see. This is a very classic problem where we discuss the greedy approach, dynamic approach, and another algorithm design approaches. So as of now, to this problem, we do not have any restriction that I can buy n number of times, I can sell n number of times. So I can buy it at as long as that operation is a valid operation and I can make profit, right? So given this definition, now tell me, how should our logic be structured? So this is input price. Now if you see here, the explanation is quite clear. What it says that if I buy on day one and if I sell on that, what I'm doing, I'm making a loss, right? Or if you buy on day two, you have buyed the stock, you bought the stock on day two at 1 rupee, and when would you get the max profit? Whether if you sell it on 5, or whether you sell it on 3, or whether you sell it on 4, 6, or when. So as you can see here, you buy on day 2 and sell on day 3. So what is day 3? 5. So what profit you are making? 4. And then you buy on day 4. So this is day 4, and you sell it on day 5, right? You get 3 profit. So the total profit you make is 4 plus 3 is 7. Now think of another scenario where you buy on day 1, you sell on this, right? Or if you buy on this 1 day and you buy on 6, right? What's the profit you make? 5. But if you sell on this, you can only buy and sell on the last day. Remember, you cannot backtrack here. So you're moving sequentially. So you bought the stock on day 2 and you sold it on day 5, right? If you do this operation, then the profit you will end up is 5. But is this the max profit which I can make? No. So the max profit is 7. So if I want to figure out the logic for this, like how do I come to a solution which guarantees me maximum profit for this? So for this, let us try to visualize this problem. So upon visualizing, the logic would be quite clear, right? So let me show you, and okay. Okay. So do you see the blank screen now? Okay. So think of this problem as this way. For example, so okay. So think of this problem as a graph, right? So this is time. So time increases this way. So initially it is 0. And let us think of this as a price. So I am plotting the price of a stock. So let us, so if I talk about that example, what was that? I think, what was that example? 715364. Let me write 715364. So if I mark the scale on that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, think of this as the graph I'm trying to plot. Okay, so on day 1, where was the price? Here was the price. And if I say these are days, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6, right? I'm at 7. Next day, this is the point at which I am here. Then the price shot up to 5. Then it is 3. And then it is 6. And then it is 4. Okay. So these are the points. So here the price was 7, the price was 1, the price was 5, price was 3, price was 6, and 4. Now tell me, if I have these movements of these profits, and see, you have multiple movements. One is downward and upward trend, downward and upward trend, downward and upward trend. When would you make a profit? See, at each of this point, either you can buy or sell. You can buy or sell. You can buy or sell. Here at this point, you can buy or sell. You can buy or sell. At each of this point, you can either buy or a sell. So now, if I say you can either buy or a sell, tell me what would give you profit if this is a case. If this is a case which is given to you, when at what point you will buy and at what point you will sell. So let us call, I hope you see this, right? Now look at this. See, as a human, if I look at this graph, I can always make a profit. See, whenever you consider any real world scenario, when do you make a profit? So you, if you're trading any of things, like you are selling books, you are selling something, it is always better to buy at the lowest price. So if you are a businessman, you will always make a highest profit when you buy at the cheapest price or lowest price and sell it at the highest price, right? So this is very quite a human logic. So buy when it is lowest and sell when it's highest, right? If this goes, you can make this much amount of profit if you can buy and sell during this trend. Can you make any profit in the downward trend? You cannot make any profit in the downward trend, right? Wherever you find downward trend, you cannot make any profit. So we'll discard that. So here, once again, it is at the lowest point. So you will buy at lowest point and sell it at the highest point. So what you get? So you get to make a profit. So what you need to do is you need to analyze, if you make this profit P1, and here if you make profit P2, the overall profit you will make is P1 plus P2, right? This is the overall profit you make for this graph. Now think of another variant of this problem. Like, what if you buy somewhere else? So here you bought, or else if I say, let us suppose here you bought, and what was that? It was at 1, right? This was at price point 1. Here you bought, and you sold at say, let us say this was your buy point and you sold at 6. So if you bought at this and you sold at 6, and let us call this as P3, right? Do you agree that P3 will be less than P1 plus 2? Do you agree that? So my question is, see, here you obviously see two strategies, right? One at this and sell it that. So you might make that, if I want to, I cannot obviously buy on this, I can sell on this. So what you'll do is you'll buy on lowest point. 5 is there, 3 is there. You find even more higher than this. So you think that here you can make a profit. If you do this move, let us call the profit you make is P3. And another version is, you just try to make a version where you buy at lowest point. So you're moving in a sequence, you're buying at the lowest point. The moment you reach highest point, then you are just selling it. Then once again you're searching for a lower point. Wherever you get a lower, you're buying, and wherever you get a higher point, you're selling that. So that will give you this profits, P1 and P2. So my question is, do you agree that P3 will be always less than P1 plus P2? Yes or no? So if you feel yes, type 1. If you feel no, then type 2. Type it in the chat window. Yeah. So as you can see that, yes, P1 plus P2 will always give you better profits compared to P3. Okay. So now that you understood this logic, I hope you understood the logic. The logic is that, so talking in other words, logic is that always buy at the lowest point and sell it at the highest point immediately. So what I need to look for, if I want to solve this problem, what I need to find is I need to find this trend. What is this trend? This trend is increasing sequence. What I need to find? I need to find an increasing sequence in my array. So wherever you find increasing sequence, just buy it at the start of that sequence and sell it at the end of that sequence and make profit P1. Then once again you are at this point, find an increasing sequence. So here is where it is increasing sequence. So buy at this and sell it and make profit P2, right? And if you start from 7 here, you won't find any increasing sequence. So your increasing sequence doesn't start. So here is where your increasing sequence. So the your entire logic for this program should be to find an increasing sequence. So wherever you get an increasing sequence, buy it at the start of increasing sequence and at end is increasing sequence. And in the end, combine all these profits, what you get is the max profit, right? Have you understood this method? So find max profit. Have you understood? Raise your hand if you have understood the logic. Fine. Okay. So now that you think you have understood the logic, let us try to look at some of the implementation levels. So let us first analyze how we can implement this. What sort of things, what sort of syntax, what sort of programming constructs. For example, do we need if loops? Do we need while loops? Do what we need? We will look into that, and then we will directly jump to writing our code. Right? Okay. So coming back to this, what was that array? 7 1 5 3 6 4, 7 1 5 3 6 4, right? So if I want to now talk about code logic, see what we have seen is a logic working on that. So before we jump to write a Python code, so whenever you try to solve any problem, it's always better to first work around with a rough logic and have a template or a rough layout of logic before you jump to writing your code, right? So given this 7 1 5 3 6 4, if I want to find increasing sequence, how can I find an increasing sequence? So to find an increasing sequence, what I will do is I will put one pointer here, right? So let us call the pointer. So let us call this pointer an arrow here. So let us use some variable or let us use this pointer. So when I put this pointer here, if I want to find increasing sequence, what I need to do is I need to keep track of this node. Let us call this as start of sequence and end of sequence. Let us say I keep two pointers, start and end. So initially I make start as, if this index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the index. So initially my start index, I am thinking my increasing sequence will start at 0. Then I'll set start is equal to 0. Then I move this pointer. So when I move this pointer to this location, what I find, the next number is less than that. So is there any scope of for me to get an increasing sequence? No. So what I do is I now remove this and I set this as a new index, new start index of the 1, right? Now when I keep 1 and I now move to move to the next element. So next element is greater than that, so I move my index here, but I'll not update this. Why? Because now I think that I am finding an increasing sequence, right? So now when I move to other one, when I move this sequence to next, here you find element less than what you have at earlier index. So what you find? So probably it is the end of increasing sequence. So what do you do? When you find such occurrence where this is less and your start and this index are not equal, it means that you found some increasing sequence. So what you will say is that the previous one where your index was or when you do plus this pointer plus 1, when you look at the contents of this location, this is less than that. It means that you found an end of increasing sequence. So what you do is you now store the end sequence as this. So this is your start and this is your end. So what you do, go to this index, what it is 1, this. So what you do is whatever in the end you have, and minus start, what you get the profit here is 4. The profit you get here is 4. Now after that, once again you found a contradictory position where the next element is less than the your current, so it is end of sequence, and probably this could be start of sequence. So what happens is this one gets overwritten by the next index 3. Now you are searching for other element. Is 6 greater than 6? Yes. So you do not modify and you go for that. Your pointer goes to this location. Then you once again move the pointer to other next higher location. So this is less than that. So this is indicating end of sequence. So if it is indicating end of sequence, write end here, and just take difference between two. So what is 6 minus 3 is 3. So I get another profit here. So these are the profits which I get. So 4 and 3, right? And then when you move to the pointer here, you are at the end of this array. You are just stopping this. So this is your stop point. And you know that if you buy and sell on the same day, you make no profit. You buy on this, you sell on this, zero profit. So the only profit you can make is 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. So are you getting how we have to move these pointer like logic, and we have to find increasing and end sequence, and wherever we get, we can get the profit. Now tell me, if I go through this logic, if I apply this logic, and if the size of array is n, if the size of array is n, what would be the complexity of that? What is the complexity of this? So I give you two options. Option 1, n. Option 2, n square. What would be the complexity of this? Type your answer. If you feel the complexity of this logic will be O of n, type 1. If you feel the complexity of this logic will be n square, then type 2. What do you think the complexity of this logic? Okay, before we talk about complexity of this logic, raise your hand if you have understood this logic of finding increasing sequences in an array. Okay, so now comment on complexity. Will the complexity will be linear or quadratic? If you think it is a linear, type 1. If you think it would be something we are doing n square operations, then type 2. In other words, you need to find in how many nested loops you require for this, or can I do it in one single loop? So what do you think? Complexity will be O of n or n square? Okay, so let me tell you, since I'm getting a multiple answers, let me tell you in a different way. See, how many times you are scanning this array? That gives you a good idea about the complexity of that. Are you visiting elements again and again? No. So your pointer is always moving in one direction. Your pointer is always moving in one direction. So it is not like that you have kept a pointer here, you are scanning all this. You have kept a pointer here, you are scanning all this. You have kept a pointer, you are scanning it. If that is the logic, then for each of this element, you are making almost n minus 1 scans. This second element, n minus 2 scans. If that's the case, then it would be O of n square. But remember, are we doing that? No. What we are doing is we are keeping a pointer and we are always looking ahead. We are always looking ahead. We are always looking ahead, but we are not coming back. So maximum you will do n scans. So each element you are reading only one time and you are always moving linearly in ahead. So this start minus end, if you talk about the start minus end, since this array is a indexed, and in any list, if you access any element directly by an index, it is always O of one operation. So don't think about this operation. This is constant operation. So 4 minus 3, 4, all this calculation, this is a constant time complexity. It will not matter much. So overall, if you look at this, you are making only n scans. You are only scanning this one by one, right? Hence, that's why the complexity of this approach will be O of n. Understood? Do you agree it is O of n? Raise your hands if you agree with O of n, especially the students who have said 2. Okay, fine. So, do you think we can write code in next 10 minutes? Shall we write the code, or shall we discuss, or you will try for a solution? What do you want? You want me to write a solution, or you will try? Okay, so let me write a solution. If I write a solution for this, I will ask you to do something different. Let us see if you can understand that, and let us see. So let us write a solution for this. So to write a solution for this, I hope just remember the logic what we have seen, and then based on that we will write our solution. So what you need is, as I said, we need start and end pointers, right? And then we need to move from one element to end element, right? So what we will do is, we will define few elements here. Let us call start. So initially we'll say start and end is equal to 0. Why are we taking this? To identify the start sequence and end sequence. And I need to traverse through entire array. So I need to iterate. So now you can think, uh, for each, since I am more interested in index, what do you think is more beneficial for me, for loop or while loop? I want to keep track of this pointer, start, end, start, end, start, end. So if I take a for loop, like for each element in prices, uh, I might not get the index. See, you can always get a index from a list by using a method called as enumerate, but we'll try to keep this simple. So what I want is, let me, instead of that, what I'll try to do, I'll try to very simple while loop. So I'll take one element I, which will act as a pointer. I is equal to 0, and then I'll now write while I is less than length of this list. So as long as I is less than the length of this list, uh, can you tell me what I'm supposed to do? So I is less than that. Yes. Can anyone tell me what I'm supposed to? So now I need to move ahead, right? So what's the first thing I need to do? Inside a loop, the first thing what I need to do is I need to find the start of that sequence. So how do you find the start of the sequence? So if I is starting at 0, how do you find the start of sequence? The start of sequence can be always found by just put a pointer at the first index, as I as we have said, put the pointer at the start of index and start incrementing unless you find an element which is less than, unless you find next element less than less than the current element. Okay, so if you want to go ahead with this approach, then I might need to write another loop just to move the loop inside. So while I is so what I want to do is, while prices of I plus 1, if I'm at I, next element, while prices of I plus 1 is if it is okay, if what do you think, if it is greater than the price of I, if it is greater than that, just increment I. Do you agree with that? And once I am done with that, I can make start is equal to I. What do you think? Do you think this condition is right? If I want to find out the start of the sequence, so what I want is while, uh, so I need to find the start of sequence. It means that I started at an element and I keep on increasing, or I need to find out a location. I need to find out a location where the next element is greater than that. Okay, if this is a case, then I think it should be less than that. So I started 7. Look at this. I started this. If my I is here, can this be start? No. Since the next element, so what are you saying is I is equal to 0. Let us think about this input case. So I am at this point, I is equal to 0. When I is equal to 0, I plus 1 is less. If it is less, then this is not a start of this sequence. So move to this location. Yes, I think this should be less than. Less than works fine for this. It should be less than. And now when I am at I plus 1, the I plus 1 is not less. 5 is not less than. So I stop and I set this I as start as 1. Okay. So less than will work. Okay. So this is where I set that. Likewise, I need to also set while. So now the start will keep on moving. I have noted the start sequence. Now I need to keep moving the pointer till I find an end sequence. So end sequence would be exactly reverse of this. So I think now, okay, as long as if you find this, do you agree with this? I is equal to I plus 1. And once you come out of that, let's say end is equal to I. Do you agree with this? I think more precisely it should be uh, greater than. More precisely, it should be greater than. So what I'm doing is, okay, here was start, next was start. So once I find a start index, I'm going into another loop. What I'm looking is, if the I plus 1 is greater, so if I plus 1 is greater, maybe say I have started at this location, if I plus 1 is greater than the current price, then increase the I, right? That's what I'm saying, that if I plus 1 is greater, increase it. The moment you this condition fails, means I have found a lesser elements than the last element in the sequence, so I stop it and I say end is equal to I. And in the end, what I need to do is I need to just make a total of profit. So let me take another variable called as profit is equal to 0, and I'll just add the profit in this. So profit is equal to the earlier profit plus the whatever I get from that, prices of end minus prices of start. So that should give me the profit, and I can now close the loop. After closing the loop, I think in the end I can return the profit. Okay, so still, if this is the case, okay, then let us see if we are handling some of the base. What it says is minimum can be 1. So what I can do here is, before this, if I see if length of prices, if the length of prices is equal to 1, can we earn any profit? No. So return 0. So that handles the base one case. What if I have only one element? Then only then I start with this. So if you go ahead, if you look here, uh, we are only checking I plus I plus. I think somewhere we have to restrict this loops. So I think we are continuously incrementing the loops, but somewhere we have to stop that. So I is greater than length, and I think here too we need additional conditions. The first one should be I should be always less than the length. Where is length? Length of prices. And I think this one condition would be beneficial so that accidentally I won't cross anything, the array boundaries. Okay. So shall we run this? Let me see if I have any errors in this. Okay, what is price? This is prices. Run. Where else I use prices? This is prices, prices. Okay. Okay. So I think while length and less index is out of range. If I say list index is out of range, I think we have this error at this location I plus plus. So list index out of range, I is less than and price of this. Line 10 max profit, max profit, max profit. I think we are exceeding this one. So what I'll do is, instead of this, what if I do this? If I restrict I outside itself, I think every time it should be length minus 1. So I am only thinking that I might cross this. So we'll see if what happens if I, okay, at least our basic cases have passed. Now let me submit and see if all test cases execute for it or not. Okay, so as you can see here, we get a success. It indicates that we have cleared all the cases. Let me show you the full tab. Okay, so we have cleared all 200 out of 206 cases. And surprisingly, the program seems faster. 82% of Python 3 submissions. Okay. Okay, so hope you understood the logic. Okay, tell me how many of you have understood the logic. Raise your hands if you have understood the program, the logic, and the way we executed this, and also the way in the end we debug the error by putting -1. So that's how you start developing the skills in Python, right? Okay. So now that okay, fine.